Hi, my name is Debnath, and today we're going to do the chapter of Vistas, Should Wizard Hit Mommy? It's a very amazingly comical, fun chapter. It's a conversation between a father and a 4-year-old daughter of his, and where the daughter makes into with her 4-year-old mind, that innocent mind, she's trying to make an intervention in the story, in these short stories or these tales that of fantasy that we narrate to the child we want the child to now sleep that tale. हमें बच्चों को कहानी सुनाते हैं ना रात को सोते हुए, ये वैसी कहानी है। और जहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है कि उस कहानी को जो बच्चा है उसके पिता ने उसे पिछले 2 साल से वही कहानी सुनाई है, और वो कहानी वो रिपीटेडली वही सुना रहा है, सेम स्टोरी है उसकी, सिर्फ कैरेक्टर्स चेंज हो जाते हैं या नाम चेंज हो जाता है कैरेक्टर्स के, या उनके सरनेम चेंज हो जाते हैं, वरना कोई वेरिएशन नहीं है, कोई इम्प्रोवाइजेशन नहीं है, वही स्टोरी है। और अब क्या हुआ, बच्चा 2 साल का था तब से 4 साल का हो गया, और बच्चे को वो स्टोरी रट गई, याद हो गई। अब बीच में कहीं भी जब पिता एकदम से भूल करते हैं, स्टोरी का कोई लाइन भूल जाते हैं, उस कहानी या कोई फैक्ट भूल जाते हैं, तो यहाँ पे बच्चा याद दिलाता है उनको कि नहीं नहीं पापा वो नहीं था, ऐसे हुआ था। तो उसी बार बार इंटरवेंशन से, बार बार टोकने से बीच में ना फादर गेट्स एंग्री, उनके पिता चिढ़ जाते हैं। और हाँ, एक पॉइंट आता है जहाँ मोरालिटी वर्सेस साइंस कि जितनी ये कहानियों में जितना जादू हो रहा है, या असली में कोई विजार्ड चुड़ैल या ऐसे कोई चीज़ें होती है कि नहीं, और उससे हम लोग एक क्या बोलते हैं डिस्टिंक्शन बनाने के लिए, एक कंपैरिजन, एक टर्म्स ऑफ वर्सेस करने के लिए कि हम साइंस से उसको कंपेयर करने लगते हैं कि साइंस ऐसे टेक्नोलॉजिकली अपलिफ्टेड scientific where everything is growing and there is so much of technological change in the country and in the world around. So what is the space? What is the space for those fantasies that we are grown up with? So what is the space of all that innocent mind that a child wants to believe in those fantasies? हम लोग ऐसे बहुत सारे हमारे फैंटेसी ये देखते हैं, सीरियल्स देखते हैं, जो टीवी सीरीज होती है इंग्लिश की, हैरी पॉटर is one of the biggest fantasies by J.K. Rowling. So that sort of idea that do we really believe in what happened in those fantasies? Our mind is always engulfed with those things, and we really wish for this entire world to just stop and we can go to Hogwarts and experience those things. And then, so this is a stock, it's sort of a comparative analysis, it's sort of a, making two different minds, like showing how a child's mind plays and how a adult's mind plays in terms of how much do they want to believe, how much reality per se and what is fantasy does a child's mind is able to bear, how a parent probably is trying to force its notions, opinion, ideology into the child. So it's a story of that. It's a very fun story, it's very humorous, it's very comical. So by the title it says, Should Wizard Hit Mommy? I mean, do you really want the mommy should be hit by a wizard? Very stark, sort of comical, even characters are there where the mother is hitting the wizard. So should the wizard also hit back? That sort of a version of equality should be there that a child wants to address. So it's a very good, laughable story that you should be reading, and it can make anybody laugh. So as well as John Updike, who is the author, he is writing, it's like an alter ego, he is writing in that manner the story, where the father here becomes a mouthpiece of the author, since author has also gone through similar situation in his childhood, so forth. There is this sort of connection with the author and the story he is writing. It's like in an autobiographical manner. He is writing his own story also, making father as the alter ego, where they have their own. Where the father has his own childhood, where he has got in certain humiliation, or he has been faced a little situations, problematic situation in his childhood, and the author has felt the same. So father becomes the mouthpiece of the author, and in that version the story is written. It's very laughable. It's an open-ended story, very where the now the readers are loose. They can think of what they want to think. They can take the story forward according to their wishes, and probably they can address it in that manner. So that's how the story is. So let's brief you out the summary of the story, and then I will go forward with its major themes and how you approach the question answers. So the story gives you first outline. There is a story inside a story. So there is a story of Joanne, who is a 4-year-old kid. Her father, who is telling Jack, who is telling her the story. And in their story, there is a story of Roger Skunk and the mother and Weasel and the wizard. Alright, so in their story, there is a story inside. So, a story in the story. Alright, so every night from past 2 years, Jack, who is the father, has been telling the same story to Joanne. Joanne usually is referred Joe as in the story. So Joe, since she was 2 years old now, after 2 years, and she is 4 years old now, he has been saying the same story repeatedly again and again, just with a few variations of the name or the surnames here and there. Not beyond it, nothing more than that. So that has been happening. And so every night he's supposed to sleep, take her to bed and give her this story, as well as the Saturday naps, the in-between naps. So here also there's a commentary on the structure of how a family, American family is there, the structure of it. तो हमारे इंडिया में तो जैसे हम बचपन से अपने पेरेंट्स, बच्चे जब छोटे होते हैं अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ सोते हैं. They don't have a different room, a different bed of their own sleeping, but the father with the parents, the child sleeps till a very long time, till it's like he is able to now go to his own room and sleep alone. But in American households, usually from their from when they are toddlers, or I think from most probably when they are born, after they are a little old, for say a few months or maybe a year or so, so they are always sleeping in a different room, separated room. So they are not sleeping in the same room as their own parents. So it's also commentary on that, where only Saturdays or when she is ill, Joe is ill, or on Saturdays only she is allowed to sleep with the parents. Otherwise she sleeps in her own room. So from 2 years, this ritual of storytelling has been going on by the father to the daughter, and in a very comical manner. So what happens in terms of a daughter, now the story has become so lethargic, so monotonous. Now the daughter knows, Joe knows everything, every fact of the story. When somebody comes and she engrossed, she's so convinced about the story, she enjoys the story so much that every time she tells her dad to tell her the same story. And father also never refuses. Neither he does any sort of improvisation to change the story, to make it more interesting, or to make it change the plot here and there, but rather it's the same repetitive story with different surnames. So the story is story of a Roger Skunk. Skunk now, since now he is telling the story again, so he has added a new surname with Skunk. Otherwise it's Roger so and so, whosoever his surname is. He is usually an animal. And what happens? Roger is suffering from a very stinky, bad body smell issue. So wherever he goes, he has a very stinky smell of its own. Okay. So what happens when he has that stinky smell? So whenever he goes out to play with other animals, then nobody plays with him. They ridicule him, they humiliate him, they run away. So he feels very bad. He feels very sad about it, and he goes to the wise owl. So owl is known to be wise. So he goes to the wise owl and he narrates his entire problem to the wise owl. Now, and the owl being wise, he advises that he should go to the wizard now. He should go to the wizard, and then the wizard will be able to sort out the problem. So when Roger goes to the wizard, he then gets this. He asks the wizard to get rid of that smell, and then when he gets rid of the smell, the wizard says, "Okay, fine, I'll make your smell as the smell of rose, and then but you have to pay me. So you have to pay me certain amount." So usually Roger is always lacks that certain amount. Then wizard also tells him that where he can find that other amount to be there, and usually it's hidden in the well or somewhere. It's like a treasure hunt that wizard tries to make Roger do. So after he finds that other money, he gives it to wizard. Then he happily goes back to home. His father comes from Boston, and they happily have their summer in the evening, have their dinner there. So this is the outline of the story that from past 2 years, Jack has been narrating to his daughter Jo. So every day it's lethargy now, it's monotonous, it's boring, and still Jo, being a very inquisitive child, now she's also growing, so her brain is also developing. So that idea of also questioning about the story, it's also and she feels very sentimental, and she feels very bad when Roger is getting hurt, when Roger is being humiliated. So every time this keeps on happening. So now again, it's a time of her nap now, and now father has to get his daughter to sleep so that he can help his wife Claire, who is pregnant, and she is so it's floor. So on the first floor, he's trying to make her daughter sleep. On the ground floor, in the drawing room, there she is alone painting these wooden furniture, brick back. So and then she is doing it all alone, and the father is feeling really bad that he is not able to help his pregnant wife. And here Jo is keeping him very busy. So again, now to take her to sleep, he begins the story again. Now he changed the name to Roger Skunk. Now he narrates that Roger now has a very stinky body smell, and he's very disturbed because of that. His father has to return back to Boston, and he now goes out to play with the other friends, other animals, and nobody plays with him, and and everybody runs away. So he wants to get rid of that smell. So he, very frustrated, he is sad, he goes to Wise Owl. So as he goes to, while telling the story, there are many glitches that father misses. Very few points that you have to read, and you have to really know where those events come, where Jo interrupts father and tells him corrects the facts per se. So what happens? Then he goes to the owl. Owl tells him that go to the wizard. He has long beard. He has a pointed hat over his head, and to tell him about this entire thing, and he will be able to solve this issue. But when he goes to the wizard, he doesn't have enough money, and the wizard tells him, "Don't even come near me. You're stinking really bad. Don't even come near me." So after the wizard says this, he feels very humiliated. Roger, and here Jo feels really bad about how Roger is feeling, because he equates him to her own age, and where she is also very playful, and she wants to go out and play and make friends, and here Roger, because of his body smell, is not able to do that, and everybody runs away because he has very bad body smell. So again, she goes back. Roger is there with so every time this part comes where everybody is getting humiliated, and he's getting humiliated, and nobody is very sad, and nobody's playing with him. So Jo also starts crying. She also starts whining and crying because she doesn't like. So to become very inquisitive about why this is happening. And she also warned that Roger should get rid of the smell. So what happens next is Jo again. Now again there's a conversation between father and Jo, and then she repeatedly asks, she interrupts and asks, does the magic really works? Is there really magic, and Wizard can really do magic if it happens in real life, and if she can ever experience something like that. So she asked. She asked the father, and father is very he's very confused how to answer that. He then replies that this only happens in the stories. It doesn't happen in the real life. So she also very get engrossed in the story, and she also listens in so much of interest in terms that she also wants to feel that magic, and she's living the world of that fantasy. She's thinking that she's there and she's experiencing it all. So then what happens when Roger is now with the wizard, and the wizard tells that, okay fine, I will make you smell like a rose, but you have to pay me because of that. So now payment is 7 pennies, and Roger just had 3. So as soon as wizard turns Roger's body smell into smell of rose, now he has to pay, and he has less money. Since he has just 4 pennies, he gives it to wizard, and wizard says, but for other 3 pennies he have to go and search a well, and in the well you will find those 3 pennies. And Roger does the same. He goes to the well, he gets the money from there, and then give it back to wizard. And as soon as he give it back to wizard, then he goes out to play with his friends. When he goes out to play with his friends, all the friends like Roger's body smell, and they start playing with Roger, which is amazing for Jo, and she rejoices this moment. That this is again something she's really wanting Roger to experience. She doesn't want that Roger should feel any way bad and humiliated and discriminated in terms of how he is, or isolated in a manner that nobody is playing with Roger. And everybody starts playing with Roger. Jo is really happy. Now what happens when now Roger goes back home, where he meets his mother, and Roger hugs his mother. She kisses him, but now the mother doesn't like the smell of rose. She is very angry. She is so angry that she asks Roger, how did you get the smell? He narrated the entire tale that he got it from wizard and how it had happened. Now mother is so angry, and she wants that Roger should get his earlier smell back, because that is how he was born, and he should nurture what he has. He should not try to change something which he's born with. So she becomes very angry. Now what happens? Now she goes back to the wizard. Now there's a very comical factor that now it's a wizard who can do magic, who can do a lot of stuff, who can there's anything, because it's a wizard, he's powerful. But when Roger's mother goes back to wizard and scolds him and hits him on the head, that how dare you change my son's body smell into something like this, which is pathetic. How could you do that? Change it back, otherwise hit you more. So now with that sort of threat, and which the wizard agrees. Now the wizard agrees, and then wizard says, fine, I will change it back to smell. So it's like a yes madam thing, that the mother comes and she's a woman, she says, and the wizard readily agrees to this. And it's a very comical factor how the wizard is hit by the mother with his own band. So when he's hit, then he changes back Roger's smell into that stinky smell that he used to have, and now the mother is happy. Now when he goes back out, he sees that everybody has started playing with him again, because now the friends have got so used to that smell that it hardly matters for them, because Roger is their friend and they are very used to that. But here intervenes Jo, and she says that no, this is not supposed to happen. Wizard should also hit mommy. Why did she let again that stinky smell to come back, and the rose petal smells to go? Because of that reason, Roger has been always getting humiliated. Nobody was playing, so she starts crying that wizard should hit mommy. But now here the father defends the mother. That mother is supreme and she will not take any wrong decision for the child. So if the mother says that there shouldn't be any smell, it is uptight, it's right. She is doing right for her child. She knows it well. So there shouldn't be any discourse in that. The mother shouldn't be hit by the wizard at all. So this is wrong. Father interrupts. Father gets really irritated, and Joe interrupts again and again that no, she should be hit. The mother should be hit by the wizard. But father interrupts. Father says, "It's my story. This is not supposed to happen. This is my story. It will not happen." And he gets very irritated. But Joe doesn't stop. So she becomes really stubborn that should happen, and she sulks because she wants equality. If it's like a tit for tat rule. If the mother hits the wizard should also hit the mother. Now that happens, and then what happens that mother and Roger both go back to the house. Roger's father comes from Boston. They happily have their dinner. That story, the tale that Father Jack is telling to Joe, his daughter, now it ends. And then Joe now gets really upset. Joe wants that next time, whenever the father tells her the story, the mother should be hit with the wand, with that magical wand, and mother should be punished because of all of these things, or whatever she is doing. So no, but the father says no, mothers are always nice, they are always supreme. You cannot hit the mother. The wizard cannot hit the mother. It's my story and this is not how it goes. It will remain as it is, how I say. So mother will not be hit, the wizard will be hit. So in this discussion, he is very trapped. Now, in this whole discussion, he forgets that how his wife is actually down from so long and she has been painting all the furniture alone. She is very irritated that why there is a delay in his coming. Why is he not able to make his own daughter sleep? So she's very irritated now, and she also calls for delay. But here father is also stuck where Joe is sleeping, but she's also waking up. She's whining about the story. She's trying to intervene. She's asking so many questions. You know, kids have that habit of asking a lot of questions. There's something they don't understand or something that amuses them. So they tend to ask a lot of questions because they become very inquisitive. They are very anxious, curious to know about certain things. So become very inquisitive about those things. So Joe keeps on asking those questions and Jack is really irritated about all of this. And he's not able to make his daughter sleep. And here the wife is also getting really irritated and she's becoming impatient that why there's a delay. And now he's at the end, now this is the end, and he gets so irritated by that you know, he doesn't, now he feels that he's trapped in a cage where his life is also so monotonous and so lethargic that he has nothing else to do except coming home and handling the daughter, and after that taking care of the wife. And now he's so irritated that he doesn't want to talk to his wife, he doesn't want to touch her, he doesn't want to look at her. It's just so much irritated. So it also reflects the irritation, the monotony of the family, the father, which he is going through. And also his lack of having any innovative ideas to make his daughter sleep. Any sort of, you know, sort of creative mind. He lacks that creative mind that he can make that story more interesting or change that story or change and tell her a different story, because from past 2 years he has been telling her the same story repeatedly again and again without any problem, I mean without any sort of changes, without improvising the story at all. So he has been saying the same story again and again, which is completely lethargic and he doesn't even realize that. So, but now he's trapped, and since Joe has now grown old, she has realized the fact that it is the same story and she knows the fact, but still she wants equality to be prevailed. So she doesn't believe that the mother is the supreme person, and she believes that there should be equality. When the mother is hitting the wizard should also hit back the mother. So it's always like that. So this is how it ends, and then, you know, it also shows that the father had gone something, has had certain problematic childhood also, where he has been humiliated in his own childhood. So forth, he and his relationship with the mother, he becomes very adamant and very, you know, adamant and blunt and very, steadfast that he is not agreeing to the fact that mother can say anything wrong. So it also reflects to the fact that he had a very good relationship with the mother, where the mother's decision is the final and the mother's decision is always right. There is nothing beyond it. The mother is always right. She is always supreme and she cannot do something which is wrong. She will always do something which is good for the child and she is never wrong. So that's how he thinks. And that's how the story ends, where it's a monologue and he says that he's been stuck, he's in a cage, he's not able to do anything more. So that's how it ends. So it's a brief story, summary that I have given you, but it's a very good chapter. It's a maximum 3 page chapter and you should be reading it. It's a very good chapter. It's a laughable, comical chapter. It's just in fun. Within 10 minutes you're able to read the entire chapter and you will know the events here and there in a very clear manner, that you will be able to write it in the answers very well, because you have to read the chapter to understand, to channelize where are the events here and there. So to identify those events in the entire chapter, you have to once go through them. Otherwise, remember, now characters in the story is Joe, who is the child, who is the 4-year-old child, Jack, the father. Jack is the father, okay, of Joe. Then Roger Skunk, whose story has been told. Then Mother Skunk, who is the mother of Roger, and the entire part of her changing the smell back from rose to that same smell, how was he born to. Then the wise owl, there is the wizard, and there is Claire, who is Joe's mother and Jake's wife. So the underlying theme that goes around is there's a tussle between the adult mind and the child innocence. So here father is very rigid in his thinking that there is no way the fantasy, there is any sort of magic could happen when Joe asks. There he again is very rigid about his idea about how mother should be, and mother can't do anything which is wrong. So he's very rigid on that fact also. But here is a child's innocence where she wants an equality between both of them. There should be to make her happy, because it's an inquisitive child. Her mind is full of those fantasies. So she wants there should be magic. She wants goodness for Roger. She wants that the Roger should be accepted by all, because he's been isolated since then. So he should be accepted by. It's very humorous, and in terms of where John Updike, very humorously he includes the points where there's a comical factor attached to it. There's also a satire how society isolates the person who is not like them. So it's like the habit of society. If somebody is a little different, they will completely isolate them and will discriminate them, will not include them as their own part. So it's also sort of satire over that fact in a way of Roger Skunk. And it's also how John Updike, how he was being humiliated because of stammering and psoriasis, because he had this problem in his childhood, and he also being very humiliated and isolated because of that. So here the father becomes the mouthpiece of the author. So Jake is like an alter ego of John. So whatever John has gone through, he is writing. So has Jake has also gone through in his childhood, and he has also been thinking about it. And in that factor, they narrate their tale through Roger Skunk's his story. This has been happening to them, and they have also gone through the same idea how the entire started. So that's there. Then, as father becomes the mouthpiece of the author, since he has also gone through the same problem, stammering, Jake acts as alter ego. Okay. And there's a stark, differentiation that has been done between the fantasy and science. So fantasy, how there are magic, there's a magic wand, there's a wizard who can do a lot of magic and change certain things in your life. But is it really possible in the modern day where there is so much science and technology is been upgraded, and so is there any scope of such fantasy? So we used to tell these all of fantasy stories to our children to make them sleep or go to them sleep. So it's like we're doing it with a 1 year old, that we say certain stories and make them to sleep. We are rid of them for some time and we can continue our work. But this has been to a 4 year old where the father completely lacks innovation, completely lacks creativity, completely lacks improvisation of any story. And she knows the story from past 2 years, and she has learned the story by heart, and she completely abides by every fact the father has told. So, and she's filled with a lot of fantasies, and she wants to believe in that magic. She asks if there is magic exist, but father says that it only exists in the story, but not in reality. So the entire fact goes on. And then then there's a theme, and you say that morality and decisions attached to it, and the factor that father is stuck into a moral dilemma where he can't say that the mother has done wrong, because we all believe that mother is the highest supreme power. Our father, mother, our parents is the highest supreme power, and they will never say something which is wrong. So he's stuck between morality and decision attached to it. So he can't make a decision. He cannot let the wizard hit the mommy, because he believes that mothers are supreme and whatever they do is right for the child. So whatever Mother Skunk did was right for George's skunk, since Mother Skunk believes that if somebody is born with certain sort of attributes or traits, they should preserve them instead of trying to change them. So they should respect what they are born with. So forth, Mother Skunk gets Roger Skunk's body smell back since it was stinking. So out of that rose smell that wizard gave Roger, he wants it to be getting back. So forth, he believes that Mother Skunk, he defends Mother Skunk when Joe is completely intervening and saying and she's condemning whatever Mother Skunk did, that Mother Skunk has hit the wizard and again put Roger into that sort of problem of stinky body smell. But where Joe condemns Mother's act, father defends Mother's act. And he always calls her a supreme, and Joe's idea of equality is completely, negated by the father. So there is also a lot of, forcing of your mind and ideology over the child, which presumably is not required. Or they should be thinking and developing their own mind by themselves, rather than, forced ideology or forced thinking on your own child. That is something that they should be developing on their own. They should be knowing and questioning things and getting their own answers. So that's how Joe is a very intelligent and inquisitive girl, which is how she believes in the idea of equality, that if the mother hit the wizard should also hit mommy. But father is very rigid in that manner. Father does not believe in that fact. Father says the mother is supreme and mother will not be hit. It's his story and he will decide whatever it is. So he always stuck between morality decisions, how it is he's supposed to do. But at the end, when he fails to put Joe to sleep, also he is in pathetic dilemma where he fails as a father, which is also failing as a wife, because he completely forgets that his wife is pregnant and she's down there working alone, painting all those furniture, and she is so tired and he has to go and help her, and he is not able to put daughter into sleep. So he is stuck into this dilemma and he's trapped. He feels that he's trapped into the cage. He doesn't want to go, or he doesn't want to even now look at his wife. He doesn't want to talk to her, touch her. So he's all around that monotony. He doesn't want to do anything. He's very, very irritated. So he believes that all factor, and now it is a quite open-ended story where Updike has led the readers to form their own ending to it, how the further thing will go. Will Joe agree to this fact that mother is supreme next day, or Jack has to change the narrative of the story, or Will he go down? Will he be able to make Joe sleep? And he will go down to help his wife. It's completely random. It's completely absurd. His entire dilemma that he has got stuck into. That Updike lets all of us readers to now analyze in their own manner. So that's how the entire plot and the humor it goes. So you can also be asked to defend the title of the chapter, which is should wizard hit the mommy, and you can talk about the series of things that has been happening from taking from Roger's story, and how father defends the mother. How father wants the wizard should be hit, but not he doesn't want the mother should be hit back. So that's how you have to write the events per se. You can also be asked how the father is stuck between the morality decision is making, that Joe intervenes and Joe doesn't. Joe is remember the fact you have to mention that cut 606. I know. नहीं मैं एक खत्म कर दूँ 2 मिनट का याद.
606 minutes.
How many are 606 minutes?
10 hours, 2 minutes.
At 606
10
minutes.
hours, 6 minutes.
10 hours.
10 hours for 600 minutes, right?
10 hours is 600 minutes.
So it's 606. I'm going to back and again. Officially done.
Good man has counted.
I just counted minutes. मतलब जो seconds होता है ना मुझे छोड़ दिए तो मैं सब बात कर.
हाँ यार मेरे को भी करना चाहिए जैसे कितने मिनट होगा मेरे. I'll do that. Do it. यही पे बात नहीं है बच्ची. 5 मिनट है मुझे. Take 2 should wizard hit the mommy. So now we'll discuss the question answers which is relevant in terms and how you're supposed to approach. So when you are, so there will be questions about defending the title which I have told you. There can be questions about the interior theme. There is how you can say that there is a tussle between the adult mind and the child's innocence. The morality, the father is stuck in a cage. Morality of the father is being now judged since Joe is completely intervening Jack's idea of how equality should be there, or why the father is just incapable of telling her a different story and putting her to sleep. So he also fails as a father. So remember the major themes, because that's the only question in terms you will be asked. Otherwise there will be not much questions, but yeah, the major 1 or 2 questions that can be asked would be from the major themes. And you have to read the chapter so that you know where the events are. So if you know the events are, so you can easily build the entire answer itself. So it will be very good if you mention the name of the chapter and the name of the author, since it's there. So remember the name of the author and mention it, and then you write the answers, and also talk about how author has suffered in his childhood of psoriasis and stammering, and how Jake becomes the alter ego of the author, since Jake has also gone through humiliation in his childhood and the same problem. Also talk about how the fantasy is being challenged by science. It is completely as versus. So Joe's idea of fantasy, and she wants the magic should prevail, is completely defended by father, since he says that it is not possible in the real world, but it only happens in the story. Then in the last, where the monologue says that the father is not in dilemma, he is not able to make his own child sleep, neither is able to help his wife in terms of helping her to get the errands done, and he's so irritated that he is in a cage, in monotony, in lethargy, that he doesn't even want to go and talk to his wife anymore. So it's a very open-ended story. It's very approachable. It's a very comical story. The humor attached to it. It's laughable. It is in terms of give you an idea of a child's mind and an adult mind, how they juxtapose, how the immaturity of a child mind takes the story forward, the idea of morality in Roger Skunk's area, and it's very comical how the wizard gets hit by the mother skunk. So remember these facts and then proceed to your answer. Thank you. Cut.